Now, listen up, guys, because this is a great story. Once upon a time in Spain, did I just talk about Spain? Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and bump their heads together. Right? But not Ferdinand. Oh no. He liked to sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under the cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. This guy sat underneath the tree in the shade. That's all he did was smell flowers. What's up with this guy? He's a bull. And there he is. You see him over there underneath the tree? Yeah, slide dog. You ain't underneath the shade. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome and all by himself. It's like the book that Raymond read, right? His mother thought he was going to be lonesome because he sat underneath the tree. And his mother said, "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" She would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can sit just quietly and smell flowers." Smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome. And because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was a very big and strong. Look at this guy. Those muscles on this guy. You see that? So that happens when you eat good food. So now it's the big bull, right? All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other, stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Oh man, that's what they were warming up and exercising to get picked for the fights in Madrid. And there they are right there. You see them all right there? They're looking at the poster sign about the fights. See them? But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. So these guys with all these funny hats came out to pick a bull to fight in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting, butting, leaping, jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce, and to pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. So where he went back to the shaded tree, right? He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on some nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Whoa. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? Sting. That's right. You got it. You would sting him. And that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. And what do you think happened? Wow! This guy jumped up so high. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing and on the ground, and he was crazy. The 5 men, remember the 5 men with the hats? The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest, and the fierce bull of all. Just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So Ferdinand was, they saw him. They're like, hey, we like this bull. So they took him away for the day to the bullfight in a cart. So they took the guy. Man, poor guy, he likes flowers, man. What's going on? What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. You ever seen the big old flowers in the hair, right?
Yeah.
Now pay attention to this part, right? Okay, now I'm going to try to say the names right. Okay, so help me out. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the bandereros.
What?
Yeah, the bandereros. Now let's see who these guys are. With long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick the bull and make him mad. Man, okay. After them, next came the pecadores. Can you say it? The pecadores. Okay, so they rode in on skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him even madder. Yeah, ay, ay, ay. Okay, so we got two of these guys. One that had the spears and one had these pins. Next, then came the matador. The proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull. And you know who that is, right? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce. And all the bandereros were afraid of him. And all the pecadores were afraid of him. And the matador was scared stiff. Can you imagine this, guys? That's right. Ferdinand ran into the middle of the ring and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But Ferdinand, when he got into the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and he smelled. Everybody knows he liked the flowers, right? So he sat in the middle of the bull ring, took a deep breath and smelled all the flowers that were in the ladies' hair. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandereros were mad. And the pecadores were even madder. And the matador was so mad he cried. Because he couldn't show off his cape and his sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. So everybody was upset. He didn't do anything in the ring. And for all I know, he's sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end.